So I've been into computers basically since the day I was born. My dad brought me up on gaming, so he is the reason why I do this today. Uh, Being an 80s kid, I grew up with a lot of really old machines that a lot of people today probably won't even have heard of. Or they might not remember. I grew up with the likes of Spectrums and Amigas and Commodores and Ataris, right up to Windows PC. I mean, the old blocky PCs, the big towers, which I know are still in use today, and the big chunky monitors that were, back in depth was like that. Right up to laptops, consoles, right into what we have today. So gaming has been a part of my life really since the day I came out of the womb, and that might sound like an exaggeration, but it's not. It's I grew up around them, and I used to love playing on my dad's home computer. I don't remember much about the Spectrum because I think that was the first computer we ever had, or the first computer I remember anyway. I remember what it looked like, but I don't remember much in terms of games. I mean, I'd really have to look back online to see what games there were, see if anything can jog my memory. In terms of actual games, um, the first game I ever played, God, I remember a lot of the old stuff my dad used to play. Draconis was an absolute favourite. It was an old platformer on the Commodore 64. You got to remember back in those days, they didn't have the high tech graphics that they've got now. If you've never heard of Draconis, if you've never seen it, I mean, look it up. I can even put some shots into this video. It's a fantastic looking game, and it's a game I've never finished. I never finished it as a kid. I never finished it in my teens. I never finished it in my adult life yet. Still got time. But I think that was the very first game that I can remember ever playing because my dad played it religiously, and he's finished it, I think, more than once. But it's one of those games that if you didn't have a Commodore 64 back then, it got forgotten about as time went on. But hardcore gamers who grew up in that era will remember it, and it's a game that I would like to see brought back into the modern era, as either as a remaster or try and get it in its original form on a console. Just let people see what it looked like. Fantastic game. I try to remember what it was actually about. I just remember you played as this green sort of humanoid lizard, and you traverse through this ancient, I guess you can call it a temple or some sort of fortress. It was a fantasy based game. I don't even know what the actual point of the game was, but I think I was just blown away by how well it looked. Because if you had it on the Commodore 64, the colors were just so. I mean, for the 80s, it looked fantastic. Difficult as hell game. It is a platformer. I'm gonna intricate get some shots put into this video just so you can see what it looked like. I think I was just blown away by how it looked. Yeah, it was a difficult game, but it was my first, and it holds a special place in my heart. I absolutely loved it. Um, Eventually we moved on from home computers. We went through the Spectrum, the Commodore, the Amiga. I mean, the Amiga had some fantastic games. Games like the Dizzy Collection. If you've never played a Dizzy game, oh my god. You play as this little egg, this little anthropomorphic egg with boxing gloves on his hands and little red leather boots. And he tries to save his family, his friends, the Yoke folk, who are all eggs. And they all look the same. They all have these little, boxing glove hands. Some of them have hair. Some of them have different features. And they were taken prisoner by this wizard. And there were a lot of games in the Dizzy series, and they all basically had the same story. Dizzy has to go and rescue his friends from this wizard who is taking them captive. And I don't know what it was. Again, it was like Draconis, where I was blown away by how it looked. And it was a cute little platformer. It didn't really have that big of a story. It was, each game was, it could be played in maybe an hour and a half at the most. And they were primarily based on the Amiga, but they were such a hit that they continued on through other machines. I think Nintendo got a Dizzy game, and then it just died out after that. And then one of the Dizzy games, Prince of the Yoke Folk, was actually released on the iPhone 10 years ago, thereabouts. And I tried it, and it brought back so many memories. I would love to see the Dizzy games come back, either in a remastered form or in their original form, on the present day machines, whether PlayStation does it or Nintendo does it. Just an absolute favourite for me. I mean, I played all the Dizzy games, the Treasure Island, Fantasy World, Prince of the Yoke Folk, Spellbound, Crystal Kingdom, Magic Land. There was probably a couple of others that I might have missed out, but that was a huge part of my childhood. And another favourite I grew up with was Gods, which has actually been re-released on the current consoles. 2 or 3 years ago, I think. So I played the original and I played the remaster, and again, that was one of my dad's favourites, and he played the remasters as well, but I think he preferred the originals. I mean, I grew up with the originals, but the remasters were so much better, I think, just because the newer machines could present it in a much more realistic look, realistic feel. And the story of Gods was, you play the role of Hercules, who traverses through 4 worlds to seek immortality. And you start off in this old crumbling city, and then you head off to a temple, and then you go into the underground, and each world has its own unique boss, and it's that magical, mythological feel that it had to it, and someone remastered it and put it on the newer consoles, on the PlayStation 4, it was on the Xboxes, and I played it not that long ago. I played the PlayStation 4 version on the PlayStation 5. Wow. I mean, that game, if you haven't played Gods, either play the original if you can get a hold of it, or play the newer version. It's a platformer. It's a small platform. It's not a really long game, but it was part of my childhood that was, it's part of me, and I grew up with it, and I have a special place in my heart for it. When it came to consoles, the first console, I think, I might be wrong on this, but my timelines might be a little bit off, but I think the first console I ever had was the NES, the original Nintendo. I would have been 1991, so about 6 or 7 years old. And I remember it was a Christmas, and there it was in the box. I ripped the wrapping paper off, and there it was, Nintendo Entertainment System, and it came with the little light gun, because the game that I got with it was the double pack Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. Now, come on, everyone my age will have played Duck Hunt, and you got the little light gun and you're shooting at the screen, trying to shoot these blasted ducks. I wish I could still play it now. I don't have the NES anymore, or Duck Hunt on any sort of emulator or on any other format. But I love Duck Hunt. Super Mario Brothers, which was, I think, for a lot of us, the first time we were ever exposed to the Mario Brother games. And yeah, the graphics were not great, but back then in the late 80s, early 90s, as kids, I don't think we really cared what the graphics were like. I think if it could hold our attention long enough. And the funny thing is, I was streaming the first Super Mario Brothers on Good Friday, but I was doing the Super Nintendo All-Stars version. But as I was saying on that show, I don't remember the game being that difficult. I got right to the very end of, like, the last world, and I spent a good hour and a half on this one this one world and dying constantly. And I don't think I ever finished Mario Brothers legitimately without the aid of a cheat device. So, like for the Super Nintendo, I have the Game Genie cheat cartridge, and I think for the NES, I had a Game Genie as well. So I was able to use that to, plow through the games I had. Um, I thinking back to it, I wish I could play Mario on the original NES. I mean, nothing against the Super Nintendo version, but those are essentially remasters. If you're going to play Super Mario Brothers, do it on the original NES machine. That's how it should be. Play it as it was when it first came out, because the NES had Super Mario Brothers, Mario 2, and Mario 3, and then we went on to the Super Nintendo, where we got the remasters in the All Stars version. And of course, the Super Nintendo also introduced me to The Legend of Zelda, which to this day, obviously you can see behind me, there's the Triforce light. There's a Link statue from Breath of the Wild, and there's a glass with a stained glass design on it. And then just above me, there you go. You've got a little stuffed Link. I mean, there's Zelda stuff. My bedding is Zelda. There's Zelda stuff everywhere. I mean, I've been a Zelda fan for years, really. Well, actually, I think it's safe to say I'd say about 20 years of being an actual Zelda fan, because when the Super Nintendo came out, and I did play A Link to the Past, I wasn't big on Zelda at the time. It wasn't until I got my Nintendo GameCube in 2003, and it came with Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, and it's actually the double pack because it has Ocarina of Time that was re-released for the GameCube, which I know is a sought after item for many collectors, and yes, I do have it. And I think it was after playing Ocarina of Time, because I never played it on the N64, but playing it on the GameCube, something about that game just made me go, wow, this is fantastic. It was the first Zelda game I actually played from start to finish, because although I'd played Link to the Past on the SNES, years prior, I never really took to it. It was just another game I had in the collection. I was more enamored with Mario at the time and Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive. But Ocarina of Time on the GameCube is what did it for me. And here we are, nearly 20 years later, and I, at my age, sleeping in a Zelda bed, I don't care. And I've got stuffed toys, and I've got lamps and other Zelda related content. So that Zelda to this day will forever be, my absolute favorite video game series ever. Like, nothing's ever going to change that. But then after the SNES, well, I think at the same time as I had the SNES, I had the Mega Drive. It was actually my dad that bought the Mega Drive, so it was more his machine than it was ours, because I had the SNES, and he played. I think he played golf on it at the time, and there were some other games that I would play. There was like the Sonic the Hedgehog collection, like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic Spinball. And then he bought the Sega CD attachment. Then he bought another attachment that allowed you to play Master System games. So it was this big fucking massive, Sega Mega console with, the Mega Drive, the Sega CD, and the Master System attachment. And then I think we got rid of it. I can't remember. I don't know why we got rid of it. Because I absolutely loved that, because it was essentially a 3-in-1. You could play 3 different styles of Sega games. Mega Drive, Sega CD, and Master System, all in this one huge console. And I don't know why we got rid of it. And then, time had passed. We'd moved on to the PC, because the Windows PCs were out mid 90s, and the internet was slowly becoming a thing. And then Christmas 1998, I would have been 14 at the time, I, much to my surprise, got a PlayStation 1, and I got 3 games that came with it, and I still have the 3 games. The PlayStation 1 I've got now isn't the one I got originally, but I kept the games because they worked on PlayStation 2 and the original PlayStation 3. And the 3 games I got were Heart of Darkness, V-Rally, and WWF Warzone. I think that was the reason why my parents got me the PlayStation, is because they knew how much of a wrestling fan I am. I was at the time and still am. And WWF Warzone had just come out that year. And, I look back on it now and think, my God, the graphics were so shit. But I still play it. A lot of the old WWF, WWE games will beat the shit out of the 2K series, that's going on right now. I know 2K22 just came out, and it's all right. It's not great, but it's a work in progress. And that's what basically made me into a PlayStation person, because at the time of the PlayStation's release, you had the Sega Saturn, I think it was, that was dying out. That was not going to be competition for the PlayStation. The Dreamcast was going to come out shortly after. As I said, I got the PlayStation in '98. The Dreamcast, I think, was about a year or two afterwards, and it died out. And then Xbox came along and has been stiff competition for the PlayStation, but the two have managed to run, neck and neck for years. But I was always a PlayStation person. The PlayStation 2 came out, and then I got that and sold off the PlayStation 1, but kept the games. And I've always tried to not get rid of consoles. That's why I've got so many lying around, is that when one comes out and a new one comes out, I try and keep the old one, because there's a lot of games on the old machines that okay, it's fine playing remasters, but you really need to play them as they were intended on the original machine, because remasters, they don't give you that true feeling of what the game was like when it came out. Which is why, although I've just not that long ago streamed Medieval and Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 4, I would like to go back and do them again on the PlayStation 1 as they were when they first came out. I don't know if viewers would want me to do that, because they've already seen me play them the first time round on the remasters. So, but I think the originals should be shown, and given the love that they truly deserve. So the decision to stream really only happened right before Christmas. So let's wind the clock back about a year ago, just over a year ago, about February of 2021. A friend of mine started streaming, and of course I was right there. I says, hey, I want to come along and watch your stream. I had a Twitch account, but I wasn't using it, so I thought, well, this is great, I'll put it to good use. And, I wanted to show my support to him, so I followed, I subscribed, and, whenever he was streaming, I would retweet, make sure that people knew, hey, come and check him out. And, he's done exceptionally well in the last year, and he is the reason why I started streaming, because I started watching him, but I never followed anybody else. I didn't want to watch anybody else. I just wanted to watch what he was doing, and then more viewers were coming in, and then I started to talk to them and follow what they were doing, and I started making all new friends in the gaming community. And it was not long before Christmas, and someone had messaged me and said, "You ever thought about doing streaming?" I thought, well, no. It's not really been my thing. I play video games, but I prefer to do it in my own time and not have a camera in front of me and, do it for an audience. And I thought, well, I've got the setup, I've got the camera, I've got the microphone, I've got the streaming system to do it. I just need a capture card, and then we're all set. So I thought, I'm just gonna have a look on Amazon, and then I went on eBay, because eBay is where I got it from. I thought, good prices for capture cards. All right, okay, I'll give it a try. And the thing is, you say it to one person, and then suddenly everybody knows. Because on the day I started streaming, which was the 2nd of January of this year, I already had maybe 10 followers, thereabouts, because it was all people I knew from Twitch. And they were all following me because they'd heard, Michael's going to do some streaming. we have to go see this. And my first show, which thankfully does not exist on Twitch anymore, because after I think it's 60 days, the videos are deleted, but I still have the master copies because I record all my streams. I record them as I'm live. And I watched it back recently, and oh my god, you could see how awkward I was. I was not comfortable in front of a camera, which is funny because I used to do acting on stage, used to do community theatre and high school plays, but those were for a real life audience, a camera I'd never really worked in front of before. And I didn't have this microphone. I actually had a little TV microphone that you clip to your, to your front. The sound was awful. I couldn't get the stream to work the way I wanted it to. I mean, I had so many people watching me, and at the start of every stream, I have a 10-minute countdown, and that's really for me to sort of get ready to be live. Because even now, I still get nervous being in front of a camera. I mean, this isn't live. This is just me doing a recording. But when I'm doing a Twitch stream and I watch that 10-minute countdown, I still shit myself. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I still get the nerves, even though it's the same people that are watching me. And I'm like, you talk to they're your friends, you talk to them already outside of Twitch. So why feel nervous? I don't know. Maybe it's because it's live to the world, and anyone can come in. Brand new people I've never talked to will come in and are watching me. But that first show, I had the 10-minute countdown, and I'm just sitting here in front of the monitor, and I'm like, this is it. Like, you can't back out now because you've already hit, the live button. People are watching that countdown, ready to see you play. And the first game I did was Crash Bandicoot 1 from the Insane Trilogy remaster. And those 10 minutes must have been the slowest 10 minutes ever, because I sat there and went, I can't do this. I don't want to do this, but I'd already committed to it. And the 10-minute countdown was over, and I thought, right, this is it. It's time to go. Time to do this. And as I said, I think everybody experiences this when they first do streaming. There's always going to be some technical difficulty, whether it's the sound or the picture or something's not working right. They could hear me, but there was a lot of echoing. Like, my voice was echoing. Like, the sound was coming from multiple places. The capture card volume was too loud. Maybe the game was overpowering me. And as I said, I watched the playback recently, and I'm glad it's no longer on Twitch, because I don't want anyone else to see it. I'm never going to show that video to anybody. That's going to remain locked away on one of my hard drives where it belongs, never to see the light of day again. And then 30 days. I think it was just, that was maybe 31 days. After I started, I was doing a Crash Bandicoot stream, and another person that I followed, who I followed before I became a streamer, who followed me back, she raided me and brought in a lot of her viewers, and it propelled me to over 50 viewers. Now, on Twitch, if you get 50 viewers or more, you become an affiliate, which means you can start making money from your stream through various means, like through Twitch bits and donations, etc., and subscriptions. And one of my friends clipped the moment where I got my 50 followers, and you can see I came very close to breaking down, because I was overwhelmed. This wasn't like when I got my first raid. This was me making affiliate, which for some people it can take more than a month to do it. And for me, it took 30 days. And you can see on that clip, which is visible, it's still there for anyone to watch. I had stopped playing, and I was like, I can't believe this. I've actually made it. Because when you make affiliate, I mean, that's it. You're on a roll after that. You do affiliate, and then you do, I think it's partner after that, and it didn't seem real the first time, because I sat there and went, oh, I've reached 50 followers. Am I supposed to jump up and down and be happy? I didn't know how to react. And it was like when I got my first raid, I was like, okay, hi, thank you for all for coming. You know, all of that. You do your thank yous, and you try and look through the list of names that's followed you and make sure that you acknowledge them all. And I was overwhelmed. I remember after that stream finished, uh, I messaged the person on Discord, and I said, thank you so much. Like, you really don't realize how much that meant to me. And I was overwhelmed. And then I sat silently afterwards. The camera was off, the stream was finished. And I sat here and went, you've done it. You've done it in 30 days. You've become a streamer. You've become an affiliate. You have your supporters. Over 50 people are interested in what you're doing. It's very real. Like, this is happening. This is not a dream. This is not pretend. This is actually happening. And here we are now, 3.5 months later, still going strong, still streaming, 2 days a week, sometimes 3 if I do a bonus stream. People are still coming in to watch me, and I do ask the question, and I've said this out loud on streams. I try not to, but it's like, what is it about my content that interests you? Like, I do retro gaming most of the time. I mean, as I said at the start of my streaming, I didn't. I did current gen stuff, but there's obviously something, whether it's the streamer or the content. There's something that brings those viewers in. And whatever it is I'm doing, I must be doing something right. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. After I became affiliate, maybe not directly after, but sometime after, I decided to redesign everything on my channel, because I had a very dark theme. It was dark, it was gloomy, and I thought, right, I need to come up with a brand. And the name that I use, which is Michael GC UK, that name has stuck with me for about 20 years. It was an accident. It was never meant to be my name. It was about 20 years ago, when I started using the internet more and more frequently. I got an email address for myself. I think it might be my dad that came up with it. I'm not sure. He says, "Oh, what email address do you want to use?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." So, obviously my name has to be in it. And he says, "Oh, how about Michael GC?" And I thought, well, that's fine, because that's my middle initial, my last initial. And then I think I chucked in the UK at the end of it, and it just stuck with me. And now all across social media, you look up Michael GC UK, you'll find me. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitch, TikTok. I'm basically that's my name, my brand. And so when I redesigned my channel, just not that long, about almost a month ago now, I thought, right, I want something bright, I want something colourful. So, I searched across the internet for graphic designs that I could use, something that would really make my brand stand out. So now when you go on my YouTube page, on my Twitter, or my Twitch, you will see this brightly coloured, I think it's red and blue background, and my name that I did in Photoshop, and that's basically me now. The profile picture that I tend to use is a black and white photo that I took when I was at work nearly 5 years ago now. It was just a random picture that I took. I was trying to be dramatic with my pictures. So I'm sitting there, like this, camera like this, and it just worked. It was perfect. And I've used that picture, which doesn't really go with my brand colouring, but everybody knows that picture because I use it everywhere. It's on all my socials. So I try and keep a piece of the old sort of dark black and white theme that I used to have. But it's surreal to look back on the last just 3 months. 3 months is not a long time for streamers. I know a lot of people that have been streaming for a year, 2 years. Some have made it a career choice, which, here's to them. If you can pull it off, if you can make Twitch or YouTube a career, then well done to you. I wouldn't do it. I don't see doing YouTube or Twitch as a career. Even if I got the same number of followers as what they all have, thousands, which I don't think is going to happen realistically for me. But if I did have that, I still wouldn't make it a career choice, because you just never know what's going to happen. But it's the same in any job. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how long it's going to last for. So I will always have my day job, and I will always have Twitch as a secondary job. I'm trying to make it that secondary job where when I'm not working, I'm not doing my main job. I am looking at my channel. I'm looking at ways to improve it. I'm looking at ways to advertise it, and to get it out there for everyone to see. I mean, I'm impressed. I've stuck with it for so long, without stopping. As I said, this was meant to be a one-shot deal. It was meant to happen one day, just after New Year's, and here we are, 3 months later, 3.5 months later. I have streamed so many games. I don't like to mention the number of followers, but I've only got 60 followers. Again, I'm not looking for people to follow if they don't want to, but there are 60 people right now and 2 of them are subscribers, who are obviously impressed with what I'm doing. They like the content I'm putting out, and you'll notice on YouTube and on TikTok and on Hover, there's a lot of clips from my streams that I put up, just to say, hey, this is what I do. This is the kind of content I put out, and if you want to come and see what I do, there's the link to my Twitch. Come and see me. My schedule's up on Twitch if you want to see what days I'm on. And I always encourage people, message me on social media, talk to me on Twitter or Facebook, well, not so much Facebook, but Instagram. I have a Discord server. You want to see me play a particular game, shoot me a message and say, hey, do you have this game? And if I don't, I'll make sure to try and get it when I can. Because if someone says to me, I want to see you play this particular game, I'm like, okay, no problem. I will do what I can to get a hold of that game. If I've got the console for it, then I will buy that game, and I will add it to the list so that you can see me do it. So yeah, I'm overjoyed. 3 months into this, and I never thought that I'd be a streamer 3 months down the line. And I've got a YouTube page now. I have a TikTok. Again, they're from my clips, really, and any videos that I want to put up where I need to promote myself or give updates. But yeah, the name Michael GC UK that I started with 20 years ago, just as a random, it was for an email address that no longer exists, but the name is still there. I'm using it. It's now become the brand that I'm associated with, and I don't know. Will it become something bigger than what it is? I'd like to say yes, but that's not up to me. That's up to the people that are watching. So yeah, this video turned out a lot longer than it was meant to. So thank you for watching, and if you do follow me on Twitch, I hope you enjoy the next stream that I do. I'm on Tuesdays and Sundays at 7 o'clock UK time, so please do come along. You can find me as the name I use everywhere. So if you do find me on social media, say hello, and that'll be it from me. So thanks very much.